how do you grow on social media? Biggest transition with moving. Do you want kids in the future? Have you or do you ever get any beauty enhancements? Will you ever talk about your story with Josh? Are you on birth control? Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Makayla. It's so nice to have you and I'm so excited to kick off this vlog with you guys. We are doing a really cute Q&A today. I'm not sure if there's really gonna be much else to this vlog just because this week's kind of been a little blah for me. I have been down in the trenches in terms of my mental health, which we'll get into in a little bit, but I did want to do a Q&A with you guys. I had you guys ask me some questions on Instagram and I saved them all to my notes app. So we're gonna answer these. First, I need to run to get a coffee because I really want one. And then second, I have some returns that I need to do at Ulta. I just need to drop them off. And then I also need more heat protectant. So I think I might go do that. And then after that, maybe we'll do the Q&A or maybe I'll just like get a coffee and do the Q&A. I don't even know. Can I please get a light iced oat milk latte?
No worries.
With sugar-free vanilla?
I got you.
Or actually, sorry, not sugar-free vanilla. I'll do regular vanilla.
Got you, no worries.
Thank you, have the best day. Love that guy.
Good morning, how are you?
Ooh, how are you? Okay, I just sat across from the coffee shop and like a random parking lot, but I got my White Duck. This is the best coffee literally ever, you guys. If you ever come to Tampa, you need to try it. It's so freaking good. I'm also obsessed with Pura Vida, which is in Miami. We don't have one here, but I swear to God they use the same coffee because it's delicious. Obsessed. Anyway, okay, so I'm really excited to do this Q&A. I haven't even really read the questions. I just sort of like picked a few and like wrote them in my notes. So they're kind of scrambled all over the place. I haven't organized them or anything. I honestly got a lot of questions about social media. Like I was very shocked. Tons of you guys are very interested in just like the social media kind of aspect of things and like my mental health. Lots to do about that. So yeah, we're just gonna kind of go with the flow. First question, how do you grow on social media? I feel like I get this question a lot, like in my DMs, in my question boxes, and to be honest, I feel like my focus has never really been on growing, maybe more so at the beginning when I was doing like a lot of trends and stuff. And of course, when you start a social media, automatically you're gonna want like people, you're gonna want an audience, you're gonna want people to talk to, you know? I know firsthand what it feels to like start from the bottom and like feel like you're talking to no one. It's very normal to like want an audience. In this season of my life, I have kind of transitioned, I would say for like a year and a half now, to a point where I really have just tried to appease my present audience. So I've really just been trying to create and make content that I really love, especially these past 4 months. I've kind of done like a little mini rebrand. I didn't need to, but just for me and like my mental health and in terms of like what I like to watch and consume on social media, I felt like I wanted to switch up my content a little bit and incorporate more lifestyle. And my YouTube has always been very lifestyle-esque, but my TikTok and stuff was always kind of devoted around fitness. And in reality, once I had my surgery, like my breast augmentation, it kind of just hit me like, I don't live, breathe, and die fitness. You know, not like I used to, and fitness will always be a part of my life, but it will never be my life. Like I have so much more to look forward to that's not just fitness. And like, that's why I think I loved YouTube so much, was because I felt like I could show you all aspects of my life and it was just like normal. Whereas with TikTok, it was a little bit hard because I was kind of just known for my mic'd ups. That was a little hard for me because I couldn't give you guys mic'd ups because I was recovering and I had to resort to other things. And I'd always like incorporated lifestyle stuff in my TikToks, like ever since I started TikTok, but I really wanted it to be like a perfect balance of like a 50-50 split, or just like not even really like, I guess 50-50, just more so like a balance of like what I want and what I like to watch and what I like to consume. I want to also do that. I would say, you know, like more at the beginning, like I said, it was when I kind of focused on growing, but you get to a point where, for myself at least, I've just become very happy and comfortable with my current audience. And not that I'm saying I don't want to grow, but it's just not my goal anymore. Like it's not my main focus. I'm very, very comfortable in the people that I have around. And if I grow, amazing. If I don't, that's cool too. But then again, I will grow because I grow every single day, like as a person and online, and sometimes that doesn't always translate into numbers, but I've gotten very comfortable with that. And I think when you start social media, that is one thing that you need to get incredibly comfortable with, and you need to ask yourself, like, are you doing this just to grow? Are you doing this just to get in front of a bunch of people? Because sometimes starting social media for the wrong reasons can really just be detrimental. I just always ask everyone who asks me this question to really think about why you want to do social media. So yeah, that's I guess what I would say. I'm not the best when it comes to like social media advice, just because like I kind of just do what I like to do. So I would just suggest, like, if there's something that you like to consume, maybe just like start getting inspiration from people online that you really love to watch. Start, you know, doing videos that you would genuinely like to make. Just be yourself, and if you want to be on social media, put yourself out there, do what you want to do, and don't let anybody dictate what you do. What made you want to start doing social media, and how do you juggle so many platforms at once? So this is a good question. Oh my gosh. So I have always wanted to start a YouTube channel. Like, I remember when I was 12, 13 years old, and I used to like binge watch YouTube videos, specifically makeup tutorials. Like, I was always obsessed with makeup, although I never really got into makeup. I just loved watching people do it. Like, it was just so like fun to me. And then it became like a day-to-day life, like vlogs that I loved to watch. I loved watching vlogs. I loved consuming that kind of content. And then also fitness. I had like a huge passion for like health and fitness, because when I broke my back, I couldn't play sports anymore. So I had to really learn and find different ways to move my body. So I really looked to like the gym as a form of moving my body, and to learn how to work out, I really resorted to YouTube. Instagram wasn't like really a popular thing. Like, it was a thing, obviously, people posted photos, but like reels weren't a thing. TikTok wasn't a thing. YouTube was like top tier. Like, if you're on YouTube, you're out here popping your pussy on YouTube. Okay, so that was the kind of content I sort of consumed, and I knew that I wanted to do something like that. I have always been a very creative person. I am a Pisces, and Pisces are known for their artsy creativity side. So I would say social media is just like a huge creative outlet for me, which is kind of goes into like how I juggle so many platforms at once. I do it because I genuinely love to do it, and I find like a rush of like serotonin when I do it. Like, it is just one of those things that I'm obsessed with. I love it. I love editing. I love filming. I mean, the editing can be a lot. I do complain about it sometimes because I'm like, what have I done? I have so much to edit and it's so tedious. But I think like that's probably the most time consuming thing as well, which is why sometimes I am like, oh my gosh, I am freaking exhausted. But I try to never complain about it because it's something that I've always wanted. And now that I have the opportunity on my lap to do it, it's just something that I try to embrace, you know? So yeah, I would say that I don't feel like I have to juggle multiple platforms. I just genuinely love to do it, which really makes it easier for me, because when you love to do something, it shouldn't be overly stressful, you know? And I feel like I've had to really learn that along the way, and it's something that I've really learned over this past month or two, is that I love doing YouTube. I love making TikToks. It shouldn't be something that stresses me out. And if it's something that stresses me out, I'm putting too much pressure on myself, and I need to take a step back. So I just try to remember my why, and the fact that like it is my creative outlet. I love consuming it, and I love creating. Okay, next question. Will you stay in Tampa, and do you miss Canada? Okay, this is a hard one, you guys, because here's the thing. I love Tampa. It's gorge. It's gorgina. Like, I love the weather here. It's so nice and hot. You guys know that's what I wanted. I wanted that. But I was not prepared for this heat. For my Canadian girlies, like, I love like anything between 10 and like 25 degree weather. That is like my perfect ideal like fall weather. I love fall. I love spring. Like, love, love, love. The seasons before it gets super cold and the season before it gets super hot. Like, I love the middle kind of thing. Florida, I feel like it's just very hot here. And like the past few days, it's been in between the 60s and 70s, which I love. Like, I love, love, love this temperature. But anything over like 85, just a lot for me, you know? Like, for Canadians, that's like over 30 degrees. And I don't love that. So I don't know. I don't know if I will stay in Tampa. I love it. I know Josh loves it. I'm just gonna kind of see how it goes over these next couple of years and see if like this is where I want to be. But I feel like ideally I would love to be and live in a place that's like in between like 60 and 80, you know? Like, that's like perfect to me. Or like having the really hot summer I can deal with, but and then for like the winter months, like everything October to like May, having it like cooler. But I don't know if that's even possible. So yeah, I guess my answer to that is I don't know. And second part, do you miss Canada? I do miss Canada. I miss Canada literally every single day. Like, Canada is so beautiful. If you are from Canada or if been, it is like the most gorgeous freaking place on this earth. Like, I love it so much, and I do have plans obviously on going back. My dad lives there and my siblings live there, so my best friends live there, like all my really close friends, but like everyone's kind of scattered around, you know? So yeah, I definitely want to go to Alberta. Alberta is like absolutely stunning. Also, my bestie Kate lives there, so I want to go and see her and just do like a little trippy. Yeah, so I do miss Canada for sure. Okay, I had to turn on my AC and shut my window over here just because it's getting a little bit warmer out and my camera started overheating, so I just wanted to make sure that we have some nice cool air so that nothing conflicts with our recording. So hopefully you can hear me okay. Okay, next question. Biggest transition with moving? The heat. The heat is like a huge adjustment. Like, you guys, when I tell you, my brain is genuinely so confusion being here in October, like middle of October, and it being this warm. Like, I'm not used to this, obviously. I'm used to it already being cold by now. So yeah, very big transition. And then I would say, I guess moving all my finances over to like a US bank account, that's been a little bit stressful, but like for the most part it's fine, but it's definitely been stressful. Do you want kids in the future? Yes, I do want kids. So I kind of went back and forth on this. I've always wanted to be a mom. I always wanted to start my own family. And then I kind of went through a point where I was like, well, maybe I don't want kids. Like, it's just so stressful. This world is just so crazy, that like the world that we live in, and it scares me bringing a child, a human being, into this world. But I think I do want kids. I don't know. I do think about it still, like, often. I feel like with growing up and having a very broken family, it's just made me want to have and create my own family, like a big, fun, close family. So I just kind of, you know, recently came to the decision that I definitely want to have kids at some point in the future. And I don't know when that will be, but whenever it happens, it happens. Are you on birth control? No, I'm not. Not because I want kids, but because I don't know, I was on birth control for 10 years, you guys. 10 freaking years, and I got off of it 2 years ago. So a year after I started social media, I got off of it. So it'll be almost 2 years in February. And literally that stuff was making me go mental. Like, I just couldn't do it. It was messing with my hormones, my acne, my weight. It was just like draining energy out of me. It wasn't a good look for me, so I decided to get off of it. I was on the pill. I went on like multiple different pills because a lot didn't work for me in terms of making me sick or making me break out or making me like really hormonal, or, you know, not helping with my period at all. And that was the main reason as to why I went on it, was because of my period. Like, I started birth control when I was in grade 8, which is when I got my period. My cramps, I just remember, were freaking awful, like out of this world, brutal. Like, I couldn't participate in soccer or any of the sports that I loved doing. So I decided, we're just gonna get off this and call her quits. Ever since I done so, best decision of my entire life. What kind of extensions do you have and how do you maintain them? So I have hand-tied extensions. I have 2 wefts in, so I have 2 rows, one on the bottom, one kind of up here, and I've been meaning to actually get them taken out, but I just like want my hair to grow a little bit longer before I take them out. And what kind of frustrates me and what I freaking hate about myself is that when summer comes around, I'm a huge ocean girly. Like, I love the beach, I love the ocean, I love the water, and I'm always in the water. And my hairdresser is just like, with extensions, like, you really shouldn't be going in the ocean. Like, they get matted and whatever, and they do. Like, it's such a huge pain in the butt, and like, they're so heavy on your head. So I decided that once May comes around, I'm 100% not gonna have them anymore. Like, taking them out, foot down, pedal to the metal, like not having them anymore, because by then my hair will have grown, and more than likely to my desired length as well. Like, kind of where my extensions are sitting, okay, you can really see my hair, but where my extensions are right now, they're like to my nipple. That's where I want my natural hair to be, and I only have like 3-4 more inches to go. Like, my natural hair, I think, is like right here. So I don't know, we're kind of getting there. Like, we're getting close, and it's not even like the thickness of my hair. Like, I have a lot of hair. We took them out 2-3 weeks ago, and I was like super stoked on life that my hair was as thick as it was. So it's not even the thickness, it's honestly, I just have them for length. As soon as my hair gets a little bit longer, I will be saying goodbye to the extensions. I promise you that. You can hold me to that. Okay, another social media question. How do you navigate the hate on social media, and how does social media affect your mental health? I really like this question. I think that's why I wrote it down. So I don't think anybody really just like deals with the hate. I think that when starting social media, it's something that you don't think about. I never in my wildest dreams thought that I would have people absolutely bashing me, dragging me through the mud on a daily, but it comes with social media, and like I do not consume in any sort of hatred towards anyone, not myself, not other people. Like that is something that really brings me down, especially people who, you know, I love and people who are close to me in the social media industry. I want nothing to do with it. Even if there are people that I don't necessarily love on social media, I never want to see anybody being like drugged through the mud. It is just the worst thing, and I choose to just not consume it like at all. If I get a DM or if I see something online, I will literally just I will first of all block them. Like if you come at me in my DMs and you say anything that has any sort of like hate or backlash or just like criticism but in a rude way, like I will block you. I do not want to get myself involved with any sort of hate. I used to have a really bad habit of responding to hate and trying to like either A, change people's minds and get them to like me, or B, like getting angry and like defensive. And that's like at the end of the day what people want. Like they want to get under your skin and they want to piss you off. So I've just chosen to block and just not even get involved in it. The people who have the energy to go out of their way to talk about you and say mean things about you or write mean things about you, it says more about them than it does you. And I think that like in my brain that's been the hardest thing, because I know that there's hate out there and I know there are people that don't like me, and I've let that consume me for so long. You need to kind of just get to a point where you are okay with people not liking you. Like I've met people in the social media industry who, you know, we liked each other and then suddenly we don't follow each other anymore, and like that is perfectly okay. Like not everyone is gonna vibe with you 100% of the time. Like it's gonna happen where you kind of just go your separate ways. And that has been the hardest thing to, I think, learn. When you're a very loving person and you just only want the best for people and you constantly want people to like you, it sucks when it's just like it's the opposite, you know? Stop putting the energy that you have into the people that don't like you, because I used to do that. I still find myself doing that sometimes, where I'm just like, oh my gosh, like it'll keep me up at night and I'll be like, but why doesn't this person like me? Or like, why doesn't this random person who doesn't even know me not like me? I will let those things like fester in my mind, and I will just like literally go like play it over and over again in my brain. And Josh literally says to me, he's like, what are you doing? Like you have an army of people who love you, a solid group of friends who love you, who could give less of a heck about those people. Focus on them, put your energy into them. Stop putting your energy into people who just don't care about you and who have it in them to talk about you and can't change their mind at the end of the day. In terms of how it's affected my mental health, I think that there's been lots of moments of like weakness and kind of just like everything I've just said. All of that has kind of like brought me down a lot, like to the point where I felt like I was questioning about what I was posting on social media and if I was gonna get judged for it or if I was cringy, or you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I just kind of like pushed through and told myself like this is what I want to do. Hundreds of other people do this exact same thing every single day, and not everyone's gonna like it, but as long as the people that are a part of my family who consume my content every day like it and I'm, you know, getting good feedback and you guys are happy, then like amazing. Have you or do you ever get any beauty enhancements? What are your thoughts on them? So I've gotten my boobs done. I got a breast augmentation in May and it was the best decision I've ever made. Like I'm so much more confident and happy, and yeah, I think I really made the right decision for me. In terms of other beauty enhancements, I've got my lips done twice now, and I also get Botox in my forehead as well. And then second part, what are your thoughts on them? I mean, like I do them, so I obviously am very like pro do you, whatever makes you happy, whatever makes you feel beautiful. I don't think that like you need to do them just to be beautiful. I think that you, no matter who you are perfect the way that you are, but if it's gonna make you happy, who cares what literally anybody else thinks? Like literally anybody else in this world, I don't care who it is, your mom, your dad, your dog, your cousin, your aunt, your sister, your boyfriend, like do what makes you happy. As long as you're doing your research, that's all I ask, and you know exactly what you're getting into, or you do it and it makes you feel better about yourself, like girl, do you. So yeah, I'm very pro do what makes you happy, and I would never judge anyone for doing something that makes them happy and makes them feel beautiful, because that looks different to everyone. So yeah. Will you ever start a podcast? Oh my gosh, okay, yes. I will start a podcast. I love talking. Obviously, like this whole video is just gonna be a Q&A because I love freaking talking so much. I plan on hopefully starting a podcast in 2024. I've wanted to start one for a very long time, but just like it hasn't been the right time. Like I know that people say that literally all the time, but for me, it truly hasn't been the right time to start one. And now that I'm finally feeling a little bit more settled, I'm feeling more comfortable about potentially looking into starting a podcast. So I'm hoping that that will happen next year. And then I really want to create a space where we can get a little closer. Like we're close on YouTube, but I feel like a podcast would be a little bit more in depth of like my life and just like the nitty gritty, really getting into specific topics. For example, there's a lot of stuff about my relationship on here, which I'm gonna choose to not talk about for today's Q&A just because it was very heavy and I haven't really opened up to you guys much about my relationship yet. So it's something I've wanted to save for a podcast just because I feel like on podcasts you can get a little bit more deep and vulnerable and it's more storytelling vibes, you know? So yeah, I do have plans to do a podcast. Did you go to college or university? I did. I went to uni in Kelowna. I went to UBCO and I got my kinesiology degree. Does social media pay all your bills? Is it your main gig or do you have another job? So I do social media full time. I am sponsored by Evolve You, Honor Active, and PE Science, and collectively between that and brand deals, it does pay all my bills. And yeah, I would say that I'm very like comfortable with everything that I do, and I've always been one to never put myself in situations where I wouldn't be comfortable. You know what I mean? And I think that was the scary thing about social media, like before I started doing it full time, just being completely real and transparent is like when you grow up poor, just to put it out straight, and then you finally start making money for yourself and you start doing well and you're comfortable, your biggest fear is to then become poor. So I think like I've really tried to just like create a life for myself and set myself up to a point where like I would never feel like that. So, you know, it took me working like 3 jobs at once at one point while I was in university, and I had full, obviously, like intentions of continuing my degree and getting my master's after, but I kind of just got to a point where I was comfortable enough to consume and do content creation full time. Will you ever talk about your story with Josh? Not to be pushy, just wondering. So I will eventually talk about this. I think, like I said on the podcast, once I create that will be more of a space where I talk a bit more about my relationship or on a podcast. Just because, like I said, it's, you know, before, it's more of like a sit down, chit chat, girl time talk, and I want to be really like comfortable in the space that I'm doing it as well. Not that I'm not comfy with you guys, but I just feel like a potty is like the best space to do it. I mean, it's a crazy story. Like we have quite the story, I won't lie. So it would be like really fun to chat about, but there's also a lot to it. So yeah, I'm thinking maybe like in the future on a podcast or on my own personal podcast. And then last question, how are you? How is your mental health? All things health. This is a good question to end off with. So I think, you know, if you would have asked me like 2 hours ago, would not have been the time. I would have told you that I was down deeply in the trenches and just like unwell, because that's very much how it was. Like I cried this morning over I could not tell you what. Whenever I'm like on my period, I think the first like 2 or 3 days and like a few days before that is when my PMS symptoms and my mental health is just trash, like garbage, like deep down in the trenches. Like it's so bad. It feels as though there's like nothing I can do to regulate that. That's when like my deepest, darkest thoughts normally happen, and that's when my anxiety, or where my anxiety stems from the most. But you know, I just try to carry on with my day, and I'm doing better now. She's slowly creeping away, thank freaking God. But I think like deeper than that, and just like in general, how I am, definitely better. I'm feeling more settled. I think after like all that travel and whatnot for Honor and Evolve You, now that I'm finally settled a little bit, it feels a lot better to kind of just be in one place. I love traveling, don't get me wrong, like you guys know I love traveling, but that was just a lot. I think with having my stuff packaged up in a storage unit and like coming home to like not my stuff, it's a different kind of feeling. And then, you know, going off that, obviously I've met like so many wonderful people, and I've like created so many new friendships over the course of these past few months. Like I have met more people than I literally ever have in my entire life. Going to the Honor event and meeting some of you guys, and then coming here to Tampa and creating and meeting new friends and having these friendships that started with being online and now having them as like my closer friends, it's like so amazing. But I think when you go from like living in your hometown and knowing it so well and knowing the people so well and like having people that you grew up with, also having a best friend at your hip all the time, to like not having that, it can be a little hard, like in terms of the loneliness. Obviously I have Josh and we're together all the time, but I think in terms of like friends wise, I'm very used to like surrounding myself by friends quite often, and it's just hard because I feel like me and my closest friends were all on opposite schedules, you know? It's hard to make time for people sometimes, which is something I'm really trying to work on. But yeah, I think just like the loneliness has been a little bit hard, and me kind of realizing lately that like I really need to start consuming myself more with like girl time, because I feel like I'm lacking that a little bit. And it's just funny because whenever I'm with Kate or Kennedy or the girls here, like Steph, Sid, or Mac, I feel very just like whole and content. I've had my girl time, we've had the debrief. It's just like this little bond that you feel like you have with your friends. You get like this rush and boost of serotonin that like you can't get from your partner. Like you can, but it's like your girl bond is different, you know? So I think I just need to start making an effort to make time for more friends and whatnot, or go out on more dates with friends, because I find that that is like the key to a healthy mental state for me, having that healthy balance between my life with Josh and just my social media life, and then my actual friends in person, you know? There is one more question. Do you plan on going anywhere? Where are your next travel destinations, etc.? So I don't have super big travel plans. I know Josh and I are planning on going to New York near Christmas time for like the Christmas vibes. I'm really excited. I've never been to New York, so yeah, we've planned to go there in like December, I believe, maybe end of November, beginning of December. And then we have some trips that we've like talked about for next year that we want to do, because yeah, we plan on obviously traveling a bunch. But other than that, I think just like little weekend getaway trips and whatnot, but nothing like huge. Honestly, I think we're gonna cut the vlog here as well, because it was a lot. We like really unpacked a lot there. But if you're still here and you watched this Q&A all the way through, thank you so much, and I love you. And just know that like I appreciate your guys' time. We've talked about it a lot today, just like consuming content and like choosing the content that you like to consume, and the fact that you actually watch my stuff, it means a lot to me. So yeah, I just want to thank you so much for being here and being present. And yeah, I love you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed this little Q&A, and I will see you in next week's vlog.